What is up, guys? I am the Senator, and today I want to talk about the ACOG, and more specifically, why I am someone who is starting to use the ACOG site less and less, and I want to talk about why I'm starting to use the holographic site a lot more in my attacking operators. Okay, so obviously the ACOG is the most popular site in this game, and you'll see it being run on a vast majority of people who are attacking. And so the dilemma that I have found myself in, and I'm assuming a lot of people have also found themselves in, is that I've been running the ACOG for so long because it's the norm. I've looked at the ACOG site and I've said to myself, okay, this is the best site because I can take long engagements and everyone else uses it. And I'm starting to see this as a problem. And I say this often in my videos, but there are very few absolutes in this game. And in a game where your playstyle and operator selection varies greatly depending on the map or whatever site you're attacking, why is it that most players only run the ACOG and never switch sites depending on the map or the objective? It's almost as if a lot of us see the ACOG as a site that's one size fits all. But I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, and there are pros and cons between every site in this game, and many people aren't really considering the cons of running the ACOG. So in this video, my goal is to not really persuade you to stop using the ACOG. That's not my intention. I will say right now that you should play whatever site or weapon you want to play. Play what is most comfortable for you. However, if you're someone who has always used the ACOG as a one-size-fits-all, I'm here to explain to you how switching it up and playing different sites for different reasons will allow you to play a whole lot better in Rainbow Six Siege. But before I dive too deep into that, make sure to hit that like button because that helps me out a lot with YouTube algorithm, and since you're already down there, go ahead and hit subscribe for more Rainbow Six Siege content. Okay, so to get started, let's dissect the biggest pros and cons of using the ACOG site. And the first and most obvious pro to running the ACOG is the fact that this site allows you to take longer engagements. And while that may sound like an amazing reason to always pick the ACOG site, in reality, most engagements in this game will happen within a distance of less than 10 meters. And to put that into perspective, that's about the length of the typical trailer that you'd see on the back of a semi-truck. As for the biggest con to running the ACOG site, it is obviously the fact that when you're aiming down sights, a large portion of your peripheral vision is lost. And with such a small field of view, this not only makes it more difficult to take engagements at a close distance, but in some instances, you want to be able to see the enemies that might be right next to you. And that's a big problem when you consider that Rainbow Six Siege is a close quarter combat game. And then when you look at the holo or the reflex or the red dot, it's the exact opposite. It's harder to take longer engagements, but at closer engagements, it is much easier. Knowing that, we need to examine in what instances would it be more beneficial to have a site that lets us take longer engagements, and which instances would it be more beneficial to take shorter engagements. And this is something that I don't think most people will take the time to consider, given the fact that whenever I watch my teammates after I die, about 95% of them are always running the ACOG regardless of the operator that they have selected. So this is something that is rarely done, which is odd because we do this with every other aspect of this game. We pick our operators and adjust our playstyles depending on the map as well as the site. So why wouldn't we want our weapons to cater to that as well? So first, let's look at which operators benefit more from having an ACOG and which operators are put at a greater disadvantage from running the ACOG. And try to keep in mind that this isn't me telling you you have to run a specific site. This is just me speaking from my own experience. Again, run whatever site you're most comfortable with. But in my personal experience, I have found that fragging operators benefit more from running the holographic site, and that support operators benefit more from running an ACOG. And again, this is not an absolute. The map being played should also play a factor, and I'll talk about that more later. But generally, fragging operators like Ash, Sophia, IQ, and Buck will benefit more from running holographic, with one big exception being Sledge, considering that he does have the SMG-11 as a secondary option. So if he wants to take a close engagement, he can just swap to his SMG-11 and have that covered. But why is it that entry fraggers should run the holo more than the ACOG? And try to keep in mind that whenever I say holographic, you could also substitute that in for either the reflex or red dot. But to answer the question why entry fraggers should be running the holo more than the ACOG, it's because, as we discussed, most engagements in this game take place within a distance of less than 10 meters, and entry fraggers are the ones who are going to be taking most of the engagements. They're the ones who are going into sight, where if you're in sight, those engagements will be sometimes less than 5 meters. We discussed that the biggest pro and con of the ACOG is that it's great for long distances, but struggles at short range. Therefore, operators designed to take engagements at short range are the ones that benefit from running the holographic sight instead. So, entry fraggers take gunfights at shorter distances, therefore they would benefit more from having a sight designed for short range gunfights. And so, to sort of show you an example of why the ACOG is better for those who play the entry frag position, on your screen is 2 attacking operators holding pretty much the exact same angle, one with the ACOG and one with the holographic. Now, if you're swinging Aviator Door on Villa, then this is a familiar spot to find yourself in. But say for instance, I'm playing the entry frag here, and I'm holding this angle, and I'm about to swing towards where the rotate would generally be. But what if there's a defender who swung in from study? If I was running the holo, I may have enough time to flick to his head. However, if I'm running the ACOG, unless he's running or being extremely loud, I won't know he's there until I get shot. So while the ACOG is just great for long engagements, for the entry fragger who's taking gunfights within a distance of well less than 10 meters, it makes more sense to run the holographic. But why is it that support operators are the ones that should be running the ACOG? Well, if you look at operators like Thatcher, Thermite, or Habana, they are support operators, meaning that their job is to not go in and frag out. The support operators are generally the ones who play very conservatively and try to deal with utility and hold angles. And with that style of play, the support operators being ones to hold angles, they benefit a lot more from an ACOG. But as I state all the time, there are no absolutes in this game, and in some instances, the entry fraggers, and pretty much actually everyone on the attacking team, need to be running an ACOG depending on the map that is being played. For example, if you are attacking on Bank, that is a map where everyone needs to be running an ACOG, considering how many long angles are on that map. That entire map consists of long angles, so it makes sense for everyone to be running an ACOG. Then you can look at Consulate as another example. That is a very long and linear map, so with so many long angles, it would be best for as many people to be running the ACOG as possible. And then you can look at a map like Oregon or Outback or Clubhouse that does have some long angles, but generally those are smaller maps with shorter lines of sight, so an ACOG would not be very necessary for the entry fraggers. And lastly, one huge benefit that can come from running the holographic instead of the ACOG is that it is a lot easier to control a weapon with an angled grip that has a holographic attached, rather than trying to control a weapon with an angled grip and an ACOG. Now, if you are an extremely skilled player who has amazing aim with the ACOG and an angled grip, good for you, this tip really isn't designed for you. But obviously, it is more difficult to control a weapon's recoil with an angled grip if it has an ACOG. And right now, I'm seeing most people running their rifles with an ACOG and a vertical grip. However, if you are playing the entry fragger, you need to be able to aim down sights as quickly as possible, and the angled grip will allow you to do so. So right now, if you're playing Zofia with an ACOG and a vertical grip, I challenge you to try her with an angled grip and a holographic sight. You will find yourself winning a lot more gunfights due to the fact that you can ADS much quicker and you have a larger field of view, as opposed to having an ACOG where you're zoomed all the way in. But at the end of the day, play whatever sight you are most comfortable with. Even if you love the red dot sight, go for it. Play whatever you want to play. I just don't want players thinking that just because the pros run certain optics or a majority of the players are running something, that you have to do it as well. I wanted to make this video because most players will just always run the ACOG, and I don't think most players really know why, or they haven't really weighed out the pros and cons of running the ACOG with specific operators. They do it because everyone else does it and don't really stop to think about why they're doing it. But again, run whatever you want to run, but think about why you are running certain attachments. Are you doing it because you've tried out everything else and this is the best fit for you? Or are you doing it because you've seen everyone else do it and everyone else has to be right? And so that's about it for today. I would like to thank you guys because I just now hit 20,000 subscribers, and I honestly never thought that I would hit this mark in less than a year of starting this channel, so thank you to everyone who has gotten me to this point. If you enjoyed this video, again, make sure to like and subscribe, as well as share with a friend if you think this will help them. I've also been more active on Twitter recently, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at ZSenator. And if you're someone who is already subscribed and you still want to support the channel, please check out my affiliate sponsor, Rogue Energy, link down below in the description. They make a great tasting, highly caffeinated energy drink that increases your focus and reaction time. I love this stuff, and if you use code Senator at checkout, you get a 10% discount on any purchase. So you get an amazing drink, and your purchase helps my channel. I'd like to thank you guys for sticking around until the end of the video. I am the Senator, and as always, have a good one.